Hey everybody, this is Mike Brunn from the Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. And a couple of months ago I did one of these where I did a concert review for the band Return of the Comet, a small club show. At the time I said I was going to look to get into doing some more of these. And well, here it is, my second episode. Going to go a little bigger this time. Last time, like I said, was a small club show. This time was a big stadium tour show. So I'm going to be reviewing the Rolling Stones No Filter show from the FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, or Washington, D.C. The concert was July 3rd, 2019. So I'm going to just start it off by saying that I'm not the biggest Rolling Stone fan in the world, so I will put that out there right up front. I certainly know all their hits, all the classics. That night they did 20 songs. I think I knew 16 of the 20. You're probably not a rock and roll fan if you don't know those songs. So, certainly, I know all the hits, all the classics, but it's not like I have every Rolling Stones album, and I just want to put that out there right up front. So, saying that, the Rolling Stones had been on my bucket list of concerts to see for quite a while, and I wasn't able to make the New Jersey show, which was a little bit closer to me, and the fact that I did want to catch them before it was too late, I decided to take a long drive over to Washington, D.C., so I could check out the concert there, and I'm glad that I did. So, I'll start off just by giving some of the good things about the concert, and then some maybe not as great things, some of them nothing to do with the Rolling Stones, and just give you my overall opinion of the show in total. So, with regards to the good things here first, Mick Jagger, everybody knows he's a classic frontman, one of the best frontmen in all times for any rock band. You watch him, you understand why. It's amazing. The guy is probably close to 30 years older than me, and the energy that he has on stage, and he just does not stop the entire time, is absolutely incredible. Here it is, he just recently had a heart issue, and they had to cancel, or postpone, I should say, their tour. And, you'd never know it. He was up there dancing, singing, didn't miss a beat. His energy the entire night, 2+ hours, was absolutely incredible. And, it's something that I marvel at, that, at his age, he could still be going at that kind of energy, on a nightly basis is incredible, especially given the heat, which, I'll talk about in a little bit with that. So, kudos to Mick for that. That was just, absolutely incredible. One of the things that I found pretty cool also is, here's a band that's been touring for over 50 years. And about 4 or 5 songs into the set, they did a song called Mercy, Mercy. Again, I did not know that song. It's an album cut. But before they performed it, Mick said that they realized before the show that night that it had been nearly 50 years since they had performed that song. And, just as a rock fan and just concert lover in general, I find that quite cool that, here it is. There's a band that's been playing for over 50 years. And the last time they performed this song was July 5th, 1969. So nearly 50 years to the day later, they were performing that song for the first time in 50 years. I just find that incredible. I love seeing things like that. In my mind, if the Rolling Stones can do that, every band should be doing that in concert. There's no reason you can't take care of your diehard fans and throw in 1 or 2 things like that on a tour. I'm sure the Rolling Stone fans absolutely love that. Even though I didn't know the song, I thought it was quite cool they did that. Another thing that they do on a nightly basis is that they put a couple of songs up on the website for you could vote on, and then they'll play whichever one the fans get voted for the most. One of the 4 songs up there was Emotional Rescue. That's what I was hoping for. Again, not being the biggest fan, I know that song was a big hit. Somebody on my Facebook page did comment that I should give up my rock and roll card because that's the song I wanted to hear. I actually think that's a very funny comment. Totally get it. Totally get that it's more of like a disco song. But again, not being the biggest fan, that was the song that I wanted to hear. And but it's not the one that won. And kind of looking at the set list right now, the song that did win was a song called Rocks Off. So the fans there seem to really dig that and like that. So, again, kudos to the Rolling Stones for doing something like that and letting the fans decide a song on a nightly basis. So again, cool thing. The other cool thing I think that they've done is I was watching some of the set lists leading up to the show just so I could get an idea of what they would be playing, and even in some cases what they wouldn't be playing. And one of the things I've noticed was that they are changing up the set list on a nightly basis. So the night that I saw them, they opened up with Jumpin' Jack Flash, which the set list I had seen in previous nights. That was towards the end of the show. So, little things like that I just think is cool. It kind of keeps it fresh, keeps it, for fans that do go to see multiple shows, and a lot of diehard fans do that, it keeps it, really fresh. You kind of don't know what to expect necessarily on a night-to-night basis. Again, I wish more bands would take the Rolling Stones lead on that, because, to me, kudos to them. I loved that whole aspect of the show. So, those were all the good things. The stuff that maybe wasn't so good, there was a couple of things, many of them not really even in the Rolling Stones' control. The first one was getting into the stadium. So, I come from New York. I'm used to a lot of traffic. I'm used to stadium shows with, tens of thousands of people. But holy crap, getting into FedEx Field was the worst experience I've had in my life. So, I did come from New York. I did have a 4 or 5 hour drive to get there. I made good time driving, but then I get there, and the last 2 miles to get into the stadium take me an hour, which, that's just ridiculous. There's literally people walking on the sidewalk past me. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Parking there was $60 to park at the stadium. I'm sorry. That is ridiculous. Again, coming from New York, I'm used to things being expensive, but $60 to park in the stadium is absolutely ridiculous. Because of the traffic, I actually didn't even park at the stadium. I was at a complete dead stop, and there was a sign that said park in over to the left. And I could see the stadium was ahead. It might have been a half a mile ahead, but I could see the stadium was ahead, and it said $40. And I said, you know what? I'm just parking there. I could walk quicker to the stadium than it's going to take me to drive over to the parking lot. So I did that, and then it took me 40 to 45 minutes from the time I parked the car to the time I got into my seat at the stadium. So, that's ridiculous. And I was moving fast because I was afraid I was going to miss the start of the Stones. So I was moving fast, and 40 to 45 minutes, there's no reason for that at all. No reason. So I'd probably never go to FedEx Field again for another show. And I feel for the Redskin fans if that's what it's like every week when you go to a football game. My God, that's horrible. The second thing, I mentioned it, I alluded to it before with Mick Jagger, the heat. It was a hot night. It was a humid night. And, for me, it took away some of the enjoyment of the show. That's what you get when you're buying tickets to a stadium show in the middle of the summer. I understand that. In some ways, it helped me just marvel at his energy. But for me, it was like, all right, an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm kind of looking forward to get back into my air conditioning, I'm not going to lie. Which I was a little disappointed that I felt that way, because I was really excited to see them. But the heat just took some of the enjoyment out, at least for me. Maybe I'm just getting old and cranky. That definitely could be as well. The third comment I have is that, the sound, again, stadium shows, you're used to sound not being perfect. And the sound definitely wasn't to me. At times it was a little thin, maybe a little distant. I heard it in the drums sometimes, just seemed a little distant, especially when they were on the B stage. The drums just sounded like, again, distant is the best way I could think of it. It wasn't bad. The sound was never bad, but just the overall mix of the sound was average, maybe at best. Again, stadium shows, you kind of get used to that. You kind of expect it. But a couple years ago, I saw the Foo Fighters in a stadium show, and the sound was definitely a lot better than it was for the Rolling Stones. So, hey, you take the good with the bad. No complaints. Overall, it is what it is. So, that's for me, my good, my bad. I was with a friend of mine and his family. He's a bigger Rolling Stone fan. I've seen them a few times. I know he was excited. When they performed on the B stage, they did 2 songs. Angie, which I was excited about. So, I liked that song. So that was a good performance of that. And then the second one was, Let It Bleed. So that was a song, one of the other ones I did not know. But him being a bigger Rolling Stone fan and having seen them a few times, he said it was the first time he'd seen them do that song. And, to me, again, to hear that kind of stuff is exciting. And I know he was excited to hear that song. So, kudos to the Stones for doing that. Overall for me, I would say my experience on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say the concert was like a 6.5. Certainly it was good. It was maybe a little bit above average, but I expected to be wowed more since it was the Rolling Stones. A couple of years ago, I mentioned at the top of the video, a couple of years ago, I went to see Paul McCartney. I'm not the biggest Beatles fan. I'm not the biggest Rolling Stones fan. But that night when I saw Paul McCartney, song after song, I was like, wow, that's another one of the incredible songs he wrote. Wow. That was my impression all night long. And I expected to feel that way with the Rolling Stones. And for whatever reason, I didn't. Even though, they closed the show with, powerhouse of hits, whether it was Painted Black, Satisfaction, during the middle of the show, Symphony of the Devil, Honky Tonk Woman, Start Me Up, Miss You. Gimme Shelter. I mean, all great songs, big hits. So you can't complain about that. But I was just, for whatever reason, I was never wowed, and I don't know why. So again, overall, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. If you're a Rolling Stones fan, absolutely 100% go check it out. You won't be disappointed. If you're a casual music fan, I strongly suggest you go check it out also, because these opportunities are going to be coming to an end soon. These guys are not getting any younger. They're in their late 70s. And, if you want to see them, now's the time to do it. I'm glad I went. It was an 11-hour drive, round trip for me, and it was worth it. But I just was expecting a little bit more because it is the Stones and probably no other reason. So for me, again, 6.5 out of 10. Feel free to leave your comments. I'm sure big Rolling Stone fans are going to think I'm nuts for not thinking it was better. But leave your comments. Thanks for listening. And, for anybody who's watching it on YouTube, feel free to subscribe, follow my Facebook page, The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. Every day we're posting stuff about rock and roll, history, facts, whatever it may be. So go check out the page. Again, Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. Thank you guys for checking out the video. Talk to you soon. Later.